the question is, how would I do it? Well, if ownership was committed, and I don't mean they have to spend $200 million a year, but don't give the general manager a mandate to be a bottom third payroll. But if that were the case, I would hire the best baseball people I could. I want to start with the baseball people and then let them decide which analytically driven folks they want and give them a flexible budget and let them go to work. I don't want analytics people deciding how many baseball people and which baseball people help them make decisions. I want baseball people to decide which analytics people they want to hire and how much say they have in making decisions. I think too many clubs the last several years have gone in the other direction. And if the baseball guy goes, hey, we're going to let the data dictate this, and this, so it's going to be the majority, fine. But that's the baseball guy making that decision. The analytics guy doesn't have baseball experience. Otherwise, he would also be a baseball guy. Does that make sense? You could be a baseball guy with analytics experience, but the analytics people show up in baseball without baseball experience or without lots of baseball experience, without significant, meaningful baseball experience because they're analytics guys. They're mathematicians. They're people that have studied the game. They didn't play the game, coach the game, scout the game, manage the game. They didn't do any of that. Now, if Jason Churchill was ever, he's not, but if he ever got into baseball, he would have been one of those, not an analytics guy, but he would have been a numbers guy that would have to go in and learn baseball for a long period of time before you could ever even think of saying in the game of baseball, Churchill's a baseball guy. Now, in the game that we play, this is a podcast. I host a podcast. Some of you follow me on Twitter. You might read my stuff at Prospect Insider. And you may have been doing that for years, and I appreciate that. I'm a baseball guy when it comes to that. Just like Greg Bell at the Tacoma News Tribune is a football guy. Now, he's covered everything, but that guy is a football guy. That's how I'm a baseball guy. In the game of baseball in the industry, I would be an outsider that would have to go in and learn. Despite the fact that I've been covering this, watching this, talking to folks in the game forever, for 20 years now, I would still be that outsider. You want your baseball people to make the decisions. And if you're a baseball guy, Jerry Dipoto is a baseball guy, a traditional baseball guy. But you know what? The Mariners, a lot of their decisions are analytically driven. Absolutely. But you know who made the decision to do that? Your baseball guy did. And that's why so far, very early in this rebuild, it has worked. And that's player development, player acquisition, game strategy, whatever it is. Hiring your player development folks, hiring your field staff, whatever your scouts, how much video you want to, whatever it is. Jerry Dipoto is ultimately the one that's made the decision how much analytics we're throwing into this and how much traditional baseball stuff we're throwing into this. So that's what I would start with. Hire the best baseball people I can. I think I would start with Bobby Heck right now. If I'm the Colorado Rockies, I would have fired Jeff Bridich and hired Bobby Heck in a heartbeat and said, let's bring in some of the folks that you trust the most, that you like the most, and you know, let's get analytics involved here, but I'm going to let you decide how much that happens. How many analytics folks do you want to bring in? You know, how do you want to use it? Who exactly do you want to bring in? Instead of the other way around. Because the one thing that a baseball guy brings to the table that an analytics-driven guy does not is there's a floor of being able to identify talent. A guy like Bobby Heck, for example, knows exactly what a good amateur player looks like. High school, college, even early in the minors. He's extremely good at saying, this guy can play, and the reason he's not putting up great numbers right now is because this, and this. He's excellent at it. He proved that in Houston. And now he has experience in Tampa applying analytics from their standpoint versus how the Houston Astros did it. Bobby Heck should be a general manager right now. The fact that he's not, I'm not really sure why that is. I think clubs are a little too worried about, we need a guy who's a really good mouthpiece for us. No, you don't. You need a dude in your organization that can help you make good decisions, because if you win, it doesn't matter what the GM says or doesn't say or how he looks saying it. But that's what I would do. That's where I would start. In Colorado, it's really no different than any other city in that way. Will they have to consider their ballpark environment when acquiring players? Yes. But, the Mariners do that too. The Diamondbacks do that too. The Dodgers do that too. Are the potential impacts a little more extreme in Colorado? Yes. That doesn't change the process. Coors Field remains one of the most offensive ballparks in baseball. Really the most. It's consistently number 1 or 2 in ballpark factor. But it's not to such a large extent that they can't target the same players as other clubs, including pitchers. Now, might you lean, if all other things were close to equal, might the Rockies lean toward a guy that has shown an ability to keep the ball in the ballpark, or somebody who doesn't give up severe fly balls or gives up less hard contact? Of course. They would